America first is a distraction. Christendom first is the truth. America first, though noble, it doesn't hit the beast in the head. It's now bait so you don't see the big picture. Because if they can knock you down, your church, silence your voice, shut down your business, and ban you from your bank accounts, not just in Texas or New York, not just in DC or Sacramento, but in London, in Dublin, in Sydney, in Madrid, that this battle was never national. It was never political. It is spiritual. And if you still think that this is about Democrats or Republicans and about left and right or red or blue, then you're already conquered. Because you are not free. Because you are not sovereign. Because you are not protected by a flag. You and I are just well-kept slaves, fed dopamine, fed credit, social credit scored, while the leash grows tighter around our soul. So this isn't a battle for America, or the UK, or Australia. It's a battle for Christendom. And only the men who kneel to the cross can rise with the cross, can be victorious. And only men who kneel to the cross can rise with the crown and be victorious. Christendom first, not America first. America first sounds bold. It sounds so patriotic. But in the face of a global enemy, it's just not enough. It's a regional chant in a planetary battle. It's like shouting Los Angeles first, while Sacramento signs the bills and DC flips the switch. Meanwhile, the virus of the globalists infect the cathedrals in France, the parliament in Germany, the courts of Canada, the schools of Australia, and the soul of Spain. What's collapsing isn't just America, it's Western civilization itself. The moral order, the family structure, the sacred, the beautiful, all of it is being gutted, mocked, and sold for scraps. Not by foreign armies, but by our own elites. And this is not a national crisis. It's not a partisan crisis. It is a Christendom crisis. Because Western civilization was never just lands and laws or GDP. It was a spiritual empire built on a throne, a cross, and a sword. And if you want to save America, then stop thinking like a senator and start thinking like a crusader. Christendom first is not nostalgia. It is a resurrection, and it starts now. The real war is Christendom versus the globalists. Their mask fell in 2019. The enemy revealed itself, and not through tanks and missiles, but that also, but through mandates and screens. They locked down the world, and not just the church, not just the gym, but the entire world. And no one voted for it, no one consented to it, and yet it still happened. And who has that kind of power? Well, they own the banks, the media, the governments across Christendom. They are unaccountable, untouchable, pretending to be saviors of the West as they tighten their grip. And what did the churches do? The churches were silent. The pulpits were empty. And they didn't speak truth. They sought comfort. They didn't resist. They collaborated. And they were no Peter. They were just Judas. And they didn't guard the flock, the people. They auctioned off the temple. They traded the blood of Christ for influence, for safety, for dirty digital coins. We need a new priesthood, forged in silence, baptized in fire, and crowned by scars. A priesthood of fire and steel, who do not bow to celebrities, or culture, or blackmail. A priesthood whose only allegiance is to Christ. Spain's last stand. There was a time when Christendom stood on the edge of extinction, when the cross had been nearly driven from Iberian soil, when moss filled the skies once pierced by church bells, and it looked as though the light of Christendom would be forever swallowed by the crescent and the sword. But high in the mountains of Asturias, a remnant remained, and they weren't an army, not an empire, just a handful of warriors, monks, and peasants who remember who they were and who they served. And they launched a reconquista, not with strength, but with their faith, and not with numbers, but with their purpose. And what began in the hills with ragged swords ended a throne room crowned with gold, ushering in Spain's golden age, a rebirth of Christian power, beauty, and glory. And now, here we are. We are the new Asturias, holding the last spiritual high ground in an age collapsing into darkness. But the war today is not fought with swords or horses. The war is fought with codes, with capital, with culture, with ideas that cut deeper than steel, with images that baptize or corrupt, and with wealth that either chains you or arms you. The Reconquista has returned, and this time, the battlefield is global, and the remnant is rising. The economic inquisition. We need to strike at the weak industries. This is where too many men go soft. They unplug from the system. They make some passive income, get independently wealthy, and they buy a house in the woods. And they think they've escaped, that they won the game of life. But you didn't escape. You haven't won anything. You just built a nicer cage for yourself. And you are not free. If they can freeze your bank account, ban your domain, shadow ban your voice, cut off your access to markets, mark you with a digital scarlet letter, strip you of your freedom, and still call it legal, constitutional. That's not luxury. That's slavery. You are a kept man, well-fed, well-groomed, digitally neutered. Freedom is not passive income. Freedom is taking territory back for Christendom. Not for you, not for your wallet, but for your people, for Christendom. So where do you strike? We strike Hollywood, a collapsing temple of perversion. We can strike the media. Their trust ratings are freefall. We can strike universities. They're overpriced, bloated relics of a dying religion. And art. It's soulless, commodified, forgettable. We can strike music. It's empty lyrics, satanic glamour, and spiritual decay. And there's fashion. It's plastic, pornographic, and androgynous trash. That's just a few, but there's more out there. And the beast is bleeding. It is weak, and this is the time for economic inquisition. Not to survive, not to cope, but to reclaim. We build industries baptized in beauty, anchored in truth, and savage with excellence. And we don't boycott, we conquer. This is not capitalism, this is a crusade. We build crusader economic units. You see, because alone, you're vulnerable. Alone, you're easily deplatformed, easily demonetized, easily to erase with a flick of a policy change. And they can tempt you, and they can buy you off, and they can blackmail you, and they can blacklist you while smiling to your face. But with a Christhood, a disciplined phalanx of fire-forged men, bound by faith, by vision, by fire, that is uncancelable. And not through LLCs, and not grifters chasing clicks, but crusader cells. Economic brotherhood who build with purpose, with fight, with conviction. And they're not businesses, they're bastions. Brotherhoods of Christendom who share resources, protect one another from economic attacks, amplify each other's platforms, hire our own, feed our own, uplift our own. Each cell is a spear point in an economic reconquista. Each with a mission: build what they can't corrupt, attack what they can't defend, reclaim what they abandoned and defiled. And each with a vow: never bow to anyone but Christ, never betray the Christhood, never break under pressure. And in a previous video, I explained how we can create these kind of men in the 5 archetypes of the male soul. And we fight shoulder to shoulder. I take the front, you take the flanks. We do not scatter when the heat comes. We draw swords, because Christendom isn't safe by comfort, and it isn't safe by individualism. It is safe by a crusade. One industry at a time, one Christhood at a time, one generation reborn in fire. If you believe in America first, or you believe in UK first, or Germany first, or Australia first, you need to elevate your mission, because the enemy isn't just at your border. The enemy is in your banks, in your schools, in your screens, next to your soul. This is not a national crisis. It is a civilizational crisis. And there's only one banner that can lead us to resurrection: Christ first. It's Christ before party, Christ before comfort, and Christ before country. Christendom is not a memory. It's not a fairy tale, not a ruins of the past. It is your inheritance. It is the blood in your veins, the fire in your bones, and a destiny you've been taught to forget. But the kingdom is not lost. It had only gone into exile, and now it's waiting for men like you to remember, to rise, to reclaim what hell has tried to steal. And in the video, The Chosen One, I explain why you are the only one that can save the West.